You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, guys and gals, we're going to talk about the New York Jets, more specifically Zach Wilson and Troy Aikman, because Troy Aikman came out and absolutely obliterated Zach Wilson. And if you watched that game the other night, Troy Aikman destroyed Zach Wilson on and off all game long. Zach Wilson missed some, just layup throws. Some truly layup throws, and I talked about in my video yesterday that it was general manager malpractice that Carson Wentz wasn't on that team. Literally, the night that but I contend they knew there were rumblings about Aaron Rodgers' Achilles tear by the time halftime happened of that game, okay? And in my opinion, Joe Douglas should have been on the horn to Carson Wentz and had him in the Jets facility first thing the next morning. Carson Wentz is now a Ram, and this is not about that, but it is about the putrid, unwatchable, gross quarterback play that Zach Wilson's had this year, right? And they do not have a legitimate quarterback. They've been trying to dog paddle, tread water. Into their credit, this defense is really good. They've got weapons everywhere. But it has been really bad for Zach Wilson, and the Chargers' loss was awful. It was awful. When you look at the Jets' schedule, and I've got it up right here, it's literally, there's what you would think would be winnable games on here, but they're also, in theory, they could win 5 of these games, or they could lose every game left on the schedule. It could be a last year-like meltdown. And we know Aaron Rodgers, he's talking about coming back, but if they're not in playoff contention, there is no point. None. Zero. There's some talk about him coming back maybe around that December 24th game, but who knows? So Troy Aikman ripped into Zach Wilson the other day, and guys, Troy Aikman's just done with it. I know I listen to a lot of WFAN in the morning, Boomer and Gio. Gio is just, he's a fractured soul over Zach Wilson right now. And I don't blame him. It's bad to watch. Troy Aikman has no use for Zach Wilson. Aikman, calling Monday's game alongside Joe Buck for ESPN, took a shot at the Jets quarterback in the waning minutes of the 27-6 home loss to the Chargers. Quote, "This thing ain't over yet," Aikman joked. As transcribed by Larry Brown Sports, after a 33-yard completion to the tight end Tyler Conklin gave the Jets a chance for a meaningless touchdown with less than 2 minutes left. Quote, "This is when Zach comes alive. Look out." Ouch. And then he came on after that. Don't worry, we're going to get to it. Aikman had some zingers and harsh assessments in the final minutes, and who could blame him after watching the Jets attempt at offense? But blame usually lands on the quarterback's shoulders. Wilson, after inspiring some confidence following an upset win over the Eagles, I even said, wow, okay, well, maybe there's something. Nah, there's nothing. Has shown why the Jets are pretenders, not contenders, with him at the helm. Let's listen to this.
Troy, this Jets offense is so limited, and, they carried a winning record in, and you look at it and you're trying to figure out how the heck they did it, but they're not pulling a rabbit out of their hat tonight. And given what they've got and what they don't, what do they do from here?
Oh, man, how much time do you have? We'll be here
not
a while.
Lot, Troy, and I know you want to go.
Not a lot. And the Jets don't have a lot of time either.
Yeah.
They're running out of games in order to get this turned around. It's been like this all year long. For a league where it's built around offense, they've scored 2 touchdowns in a game one time.
Wow.
And that was against Kansas City. The rest of them, they've scored 1. They struggled again tonight. You talk about the Chargers anyway and what they're trying to do on their side of the ball. They got Detroit this next week, so they're going to find out about them defensively as to whether or not they're for real. But the Jets, I don't know if they're a good football team. It's hard to look at them tonight and say that they're good. They're great on defense, and I thought the defense was terrific again tonight. But Is that a good football team that we watched tonight? No, I don't think so. I think they're a bad team with a great defense is what I think they are. And I don't know that they were a playoff team coming in. I didn't see anything tonight that suggests they're a playoff team. They haven't beat a good football team. And so, the Jets haven't beat a good football team. Or the Chargers haven't beat a good football team overall. But the Jets, I know they had the win against Philadelphia, and that was nice. But overall, I don't think this is a very good football team, and they've got a long way to go if they're going to make it into the postseason, which I don't expect them to do.
Okay, so Troy just literally crushed them for a minute and a half. And he came right out and said, I think they got a great defense. They're not he doesn't think they're a playoff team. He didn't think they were a playoff team coming into the game. And, I mean, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the game. He was so distraught over how bad Zach Wilson, they had a wide receiver run an in cut the other night. And he turned around to catch the ball, and, I mean, Zach threw it, 2 yards past him on the other side to the right. And I just was like, wow, that's a layup pass. That is a elementary kind of throw in the NFL if you're going to play in this league. So there's PFF right here. I mean, he's got 1,600 yards. He's 24th in the league. He's only thrown 5 touchdowns, He's the 30th quarterback in the league, and I don't know how this math worked out with Mac Jones where he is, but, I mean, Mac's got twice as many touchdowns, and he's been a dumpster fire. Here's the schedule. I just don't see a path. And Troy Aikman is saying it. There's not a path for this team to get to the playoffs if they keep rocking with this quarterback, and they're out of options. What are they going to do now? Wentz was the only quarterback that was on the market, really and truly, that had significant experience. I got to be honest with you. At this point, I'd call Colt McCoy. I would. I mean, there's no way. It's not going to be as bad. It can't be as bad. And I understand Colt's probably 37 years old, but at least he's a veteran. I cannot believe what it is they have done. This was so irresponsible for the Jets to have that injury, have this kind of team, and I do disagree with Troy on one thing. I think they've got some weapons on offense. Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, Breece Hall, they've got some talent on offense. That offensive line ain't great. But you're just trying to sneak into the playoffs, and you don't have a guy that feels like an NFL quarterback. In all honesty, guys, I hate to say it, but I've watched a lot of USFL and XFL football because I like football. Zach Wilson reminds me of one of those kind of quarterbacks that plays in one of those leagues, not in the NFL. I could accuse the Giants of the same thing. Why Colt McCoy's not on the team, why Carson Wentz wasn't on the team, yada, yada, yada. Hell, the Rams got Matthew Stafford, who's on point to probably play, and they went and got Carson Wentz. And this ain't about Wentz, but you get the point. It's unbelievable what they've done here. They've, in a lot of, it's weird. Joe Douglas assembled this team, but let Mike White walk. While you're signing, you're understanding you're trading and getting and signing a 39-year-old quarterback, okay? I thought it was the right move. It gave the town some juice. But you got to be prepared in case something happens. That's your responsibility as a general manager, to be prepared if something was to happen. And they absolutely weren't prepared. By the way, I think the Rams are going to release Brett Rypien. And the Jets tried to pick him up prior to the Rams picking him up, okay? So it wouldn't shock me if they grab him, but the Rams released him because he stinks. So he played in that Hackett offense for the Broncos. I don't know what else the Jets do, because I thought the other night they would beat the Chargers, and once they lost that game and the way that the way that they lost that game, I was like, I don't think this team's going to make the playoffs now. I don't know. I mean, there's still a path to it, but you're going to be facing a Texans team who has a legit franchise quarterback now, and they're liable to score 30 points. What are you going to do? You can't score 30 points. You can't score 20 points right now. Jesus. Tell me what you think. Black and white sports supporters, peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.